Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about the most recent Chainsaw Man news. To start off, a new Polygon article was published recently on April 16th, stating that on June 27th it will be Studio Mappa's 10th anniversary, and that they will be showing a PV there, which is very exciting. They are also known for doing Jujutsu Kaisen most recently, as well as picking up Wit Studios' Attack on Titan, and they animated the first part of the final season. On the Friday, in the same week the article was published, the official Chainsaw Man Twitter account at chainsawman_PR tweeted a link to the website for Mappa's 10th anniversary, showing that Chainsaw Man's anime teaser will be shown, as well as the domain chainsawman.dog, which also has a link to Mappa's event schedule. It's clear that Mappa will be showing this at their event in some way. However, we don't know if it's a trailer or a release date announcement or reveal of more art. We just know it's going to be shown, and everyone's hoping for at least a PV or a key visual. For the second part of this video, there was recently an interview with the mangaka of the series, Tatsuki Fujimoto, and they asked him some pretty interesting questions, I would say. To start off, the interviewees, I got this from Anime News Network, the internet's most trusted anime news source. Newsflash, it's not in the slightest. But either way, they asked how much of the series and story was planned from the beginning. Fans have found a lot of subtle clues in the early chapters that connected to the very last chapter of Part 1. For example, Makimo recognizing people by their scent. Fujimoto said that there are some things that he thought of from the start, as well as things that he added later. And when he was creating the series, he didn't have any specific plans for anything big to pay off in a meaningful sounding way or words, and that it felt off. He also purposely left some things vague in order to make the second part easier to do. Because of that, there are tons of things he wasn't able to pick up on. The second question was, because of its violence and dark humor, Chainsaw Man is often described as a not Jump-like Jump manga. How did you initially pitch the series to Jump? This question is interesting. If you've read the series, it is very bloody and gory. Not as much as Attack on Titan, not as much as Attack on Titan, which is also shonen. It's not a seinen series like most people believe. It is a shonen title. Not either way. He said that he always wanted to serialize and Jump, and that he had a feeling that if he drew a serialization there, that there was the risk that his work would get buried under all the Jump-like manga. Because of that, he tried to retain much of his individuality as a creator, while making only the structure and characters Jump-like. With that meaning he used some stereotypes for characters, most likely in the series, which we can see with Denji being carefree, and the arc structure for Part 1, and individuality, most likely referring to the dark undertones with Denji and everything else about the world. Third question that was asked was, similarly, the structure and release of the series is pretty different from other Jump series, which are meant to publish for years on end, while Part 2 has been announced to run in Jump Plus It's still unusual to see such a successful series end its run in the magazine after just 2 years. What led to that decision? He said that it was the case that he wanted to he wanted to split it in 2 parts, and that he wants fans to see part 2 as a completely different thing from part 1. So I'm guessing it will be a lot darker and in themes and overall plot than part 1 as a whole, which will be interesting to see and might be like his previous series Fire Punch, which we'll get to in a bit because there's a question related to that. Another question. You made numerous mentions of other manga in the author comments in the magazine. Were there any manga that inspired your approach to Chainsaw Man? You said that there are many works that he took inspiration from and that he wouldn't be able to write them all down. When he was serializing, he was excruciatingly busy, and he made sure to watch as many new things as he could. And he also has memories of borrowing quite heavily from the things that I saw. There's many of these things that we see. There's a reference to Fooly Cooly in the series somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. There's one of Junji Ito's sharks from one of his manga. But yeah, there's a ton of references to media in the series. Third to last question. Your previous series, Fire Punch, ran in Jump Plus for 2 years. Is there any big difference in working on your manga between the web magazine and in the paper magazine like Weekly Shonen Jump? He said that there wasn't much of a difference and that there was a few depictions that got stopped during the rough draft stage, but he was allowed to do anything he wanted when it came to the logic of the story. He doesn't think that there's much difference between the two, which is interesting because from what I've heard, that Jump Plus is much more lenient when it comes to restrictions rather than the magazine. So I'm guessing now they're a bit lenient, but not as much as I thought they were previously before reading this article. The second to last question is, how do you feel about the recently announced anime? What aspects of the art and story are you looking forward to seeing in animation? What parts do you think would be difficult or challenging to animate? Fujimoto says that he talked to the people handling the anime, and he felt they were people that he could feel comfortable leaving things to, so he doesn't have any worries. He loves anime, but he doesn't have any experience making it, so he's leaving it to them. All we can hope is that MAPPA does very well and that we get a Jujutsu Kaisen treatment for this series, or Attack on Titan at the very least. We don't want the anime being paced like God of High School, because that wasn't that good in terms of pacing. The animation was good. Last question was, do you have a message for overseas audience, so everyone that isn't in Japan? His last message is, put Chainsaw Man in Avengers, like in an R18 category, which is pretty funny. He's obviously inspired by superheroes as a whole, and it's interesting to see that he wants Chainsaw Man to be in the Avengers in some way, which is overall pretty cool and something that I would be fine with seeing. He's already had like a crossover thing with My Hero Academia. Denji showed up in a single panel for when all the heroes were getting ready to go to war in the war arc, the most recent one that's finished. With all that out of the way, we've now covered all the most recent news relating to Chainsaw Man. So if you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe, and also comment your feelings about the video and what was overall discussed in this video as a whole. And if you have any criticism I urge you to comment. I'm going to be reading them if there is something other than bots. So yeah, I guess I'll see everyone next time, and peace out.